Live from WRAL News headquarters in Raleigh, your number one source for local news. WRAL News, coverage you can count on.
And we are dealing with some rain here at lunchtime. I'll show you when it finally moves on out, but how much more we may see for the next couple of days.
And the verdict is in. Breaking news in Durham, where a man was found guilty of violating a restraining order and killing his girlfriend. Why members of their family say her murder could have been prevented.
Do or die, the Canes have to win tonight or their season is over. Find out whether the players think they can do it.
A good Wednesday afternoon to you. I'm Jeff Hogan.
And I'm Renee Chu. Thanks for joining us. Our morning team spent hours in the Storm Tracker and Breaking News Tracker, bringing you up-to-the-minute conditions across the area.
And we're still seeing that rain here this lunch hour. And Friday will be another WRAL weather alert day for us.
There is a lot to talk about. Let's get to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner with a look at what to expect. Elizabeth.
We have some scattered showers, especially around the Triangle area, but another little tiny wave down here in the Sandhills, and then some of that also up here into some of our northeastern counties. It's fairly light to steady. No thunderstorms here, nothing terribly heavy. It's just been, fairly inconvenient. Our temperatures are on the cool side, and that rain just keeps on coming. We saw over an inch in a lot of places yesterday, and of course now we're adding to that again. Futurecast shows that moving out by around 2 to 3 o'clock this afternoon, so it's likely to continue at least for a little while longer. And then it also shows the potential for a few holes in the clouds, maybe a little sunshine peeking out. Don't be surprised if you're overcast for the remainder of the day, though. Rain's still coming down pretty steadily here in downtown Raleigh at the North Carolina Museum of Natural Sciences. 63 is our temperature, and our dew point is at 59. So there's a lot of moisture, a lot of mugginess out there. Our temperatures will climb into the low 70s a little bit later on this afternoon and sort of hold steady there into the evening. Now, Friday, we have a level 2 risk for severe storms. So Friday is already a WRAL weather alert day. I'll walk you through the timeline and show you what to expect.
And we're following some breaking news here in the WRAL Live Center. A guilty verdict in a domestic violence murder case. Just before we came on the air, a jury found Rodney Crawford guilty in the murder of Nicole Bullock. This happened back in 2023. Along with the murder conviction, Crawford was found guilty of assault by strangulation, first-degree burglary, and violating protection orders. Bullock was a mother of 5, including one she had with Crawford. Now, WRAL's Sean Gallagher was in the courtroom when the verdict came down. He will join us about 12:30 with more on the sentencing phase of this trial. That's coming up at 12:30.
Traffic is moving again on I-885 after a 5-vehicle crash during the morning commute. That crash happened around 6:30 this morning. The WRAL Breaking News Tracker was there to show you delays and detours. And Highway Patrol tells us several drivers got hurt and were taken to the hospital. We're working to find out what led to that crash. Tax day is come and gone, and some people still are waiting on their refund checks.
The North Carolina Department of Revenue says its printing partner unexpectedly went out of business, leaving some notices and refund checks not printed or mailed. Michelle McConaughey is here now with new information from the state about when taxpayers will see their money. Michelle.
Well, Renee, they provided us with an update this afternoon. Those paper refund checks started going out last week. As of last Friday, the NCDOR said they have mailed approximately 100,000 refund checks that were impacted. A few weeks ago, the state confirmed its printing partner, Professional Mail Services Incorporated, went out of business, causing these delays and backups. The delays are affecting those who filed a paper return or requested a paper check. Taxpayers who filed electronically and requested a direct deposit refund are not impacted by this printing issue. The NCDOR says they are continuing to review and develop plans for notices that were not printed or mailed and is committed to serving customers in the most efficient manner possible. We have more on how you can track your tax refunds on our website. That's WRAL.com.
We're just 8 hours away from puck drop at the Lenovo Center. At this point, every game in the Eastern Conference Final is a must-win situation to keep the hurricane season alive. WRAL's Pat Welter joins us live from Lenovo Center. And Pat, what is the team's confidence level entering into this must-win game tonight?
Yeah, Renee, I got the Panthers here wrapping up their morning skate behind me. The Canes just did as well. And Jordan Stahl said it definitely doesn't hurt coming off a big road win in Game 4 in Florida, but they know they've got a long road ahead here. And as cliche as it sounds, they know they can't win 3 games tonight. They can't even really win one unless they win each individual shift. And that's the message coming from Rod Brindamore this morning. Hey, guys, don't beat yourselves. We can win this series. And a little bit of a more intense morning skate today for the Canes after taking yesterday off. Now, he called out some of his leaders after that Game 3 loss. Not by name, but these guys know who they are. And I talked to Sebastian Aho. He said he doesn't read what's said out there, but he knows what's asked of him tonight.
Nothing really changed with since last game. I mean, it's still backs against the walls, and that no tomorrow mentality, and obviously worked last game, and just keep building on that.
I asked Andrei Svechnikov if he got some motivation from what his head coach said, and he said, look, I just go out there, try to play hard every single night, and tonight it is nothing but positive vibes. Give me a big smile. So Andrei Svechnikov, ready to rock. Jeff, Renee, back to you.
We are sending them those good vibes. Pat, thank you. We'll have exclusive insights and expert analysis of tonight's game on Canes exclusive Postgame Live. Don't miss it at 11:25 tonight on WRAL.
Wake County School Board members are working through 2 policies that have grabbed plenty of interest. The board is laying out specific language for its new district-wide smartphone policy. The latest proposal calls for phones to be disabled and put away during the school day, and smartwatches need to be on airplane mode. There are exceptions. Principals can allow high school students to use them during lunch or on breaks. And students can also use their phone if they're approved for accommodations or specifically for class assignments. The district is trying to get the new policy in place by the start of next school year. The committee is also working on an artificial intelligence policy. Middle and high school students can already access tools like ChatGPT at school. This policy would put some parameters on when it's okay to do that. It would also include some training. School board members, some of them, say they are concerned about the impact on student learning, but agree students can't be missing out on learning to use new technologies like AI. The board plans to discuss a draft next month.
New at noon, Governor Josh Stein just wrapped up his first speech on his energy priorities. Stein spoke at the Emerging Issues Forum this morning at NC State. He pushed for a focus on clean and renewable energy in his campaign and as Attorney General. Our NC Capitol team is there and will go into more detail on what the governor is proposing during our evening news starting at 4.
Fayetteville city leaders approved a youth curfew last night. The Youth Protection Ordinance restricts anyone 16 and under from being out from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. There are exceptions for those accompanied by parents or for teenagers who work. The city has a meeting scheduled for June 9th to plan how the rules will be enforced. Next at noon, from the school bus to the struggle bus, why teens are struggling to find summer jobs.
Plus, the customer's always right. Why some of the largest retailers in America are issuing warnings to Wall Street about making buyers mad.
And then in our next half hour, explain this. How about that story? We'll get you the story behind this explosive situation on a residential street.
Our new news continues now here in the WRAL Live Center with an update to a story we first reported back in February. Just moments ago, Fayetteville police reporting they have made an arrest in a shooting that happened outside the Smoky Bones restaurant there in Fayetteville on Skyway Road. Police arresting Jeremiah Buffington in connection with the murder of Sedzindrik Barham. This incident happened back in February, again outside the Skyway Road Smoky Bones Bar and Grill. Additionally, Buffington also faces charges in another shooting that happened in May of earlier this year. We'll continue to follow this story and have new reporting on this coming up in our news starting at 4.
Chaos broke out at an aid distribution site in Gaza. Thousands of people climbed fences and tore down barriers to reach food and supplies. Palestinian health officials say 1 person was shot and killed, 9 more were wounded. Israeli forces say they fired shots into the air to control the crowd, but denied shooting at anyone. This was the first day food was available at the site run by a U.S.-backed group. Israel blocked all humanitarian aid into Gaza for 11 weeks. Today also marks 600 days since the start of the war between Israel and Hamas. This message on a beach in Tel Aviv was one way to acknowledge the date. Families of hostages still held in Gaza marked the day with protests across Israel. At least 58 hostages are still held by Hamas, with at least 20 still believed to be alive.
Recommendations are changing on who should get the COVID-19 vaccine. U.S. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. made the announcement on social media.
The COVID vaccine for healthy children and healthy pregnant women has been removed from the CDC recommended immunization schedule.
Kennedy says this move positions the Trump administration one step closer to delivering on the Make America Healthy Again agenda, but offered no scientific evidence to justify the change. Many medical professionals say the changes put vulnerable populations at risk. This morning, SpaceX is trying to determine where its Starship vehicle fell. That's after it broke up during a test flight last night. That's a 60-story rocket taking off there from Texas. It was the 9th uncrewed test flight of Starship. That ship then tumbled out of control and broke apart before it could re-enter Earth's atmosphere. SpaceX says a leak in the fuel tank was the cause. Contact with the ship was lost. SpaceX says it believes the debris fell in the Indian Ocean.
Corporate America is warning investors about the dangers of making customers angry. Publicly traded companies must disclose risks in their annual filings. So far this year, Walmart, Target, Home Depot, and others cite a significant risk of customer backlash to DEI, environmental policies, and social initiatives. Companies say they could see boycotts from one group of customers if the policies stay in place, and a different set if they are eliminated. Let's take a look at stocks now. Some of the major indices giving up their gains from yesterday. The Dow Jones Industrial down 111 points at this hour.
Teens are having trouble landing summer jobs this year, and it's not always from a lack of effort. Karen Kaifa shows us why tariffs are causing such a struggle this season.
Teens are finding the summer jobs market isn't so hot. Employment firm Challenger Gray & Christmas forecast teens will see the lowest number of summer jobs added since 2010. At the same time, Indeed hiring lab economist Allison Srivastav sees more demand for those summer roles.
There is more interest in summer jobs than we have seen in previous years, so there is going to be some more competition.
Challenger Gray & Christmas says businesses may hold off on summer hiring as tariff whiplash fuels economic uncertainty, with the possibility of higher costs for goods and concerns about consumers pulling back, especially in areas like travel and tourism that typically staff up with young seasonal workers. Srivastav says their data shows businesses not really shedding employees, but also not eager to hire.
People are kind of frozen in place. It's a little bit of a deer in the headlights situation. So there's only so long that can go on for before, people have to start making business decisions, especially in those more short-run markets like summer jobs.
Areas where jobs do remain available are tried and true in-person summer gigs, like offices that need administrative help and camps and recreation.
We haven't seen really a shift in necessarily the jobs that people are hiring for the summer, more of just like an overall decline. It's still very much camp counselors is a big one, lifeguards, things like that.
In Washington, I'm Karen Kaifa.
Two of the world's top weather agencies predict record-breaking heat over the next 5 years. The World Meteorological Organization and the UK Meteorological Office released their annual report this morning. The projections come from more than 200 forecasts from scientists across 10 global centers. The report predicts at least 1 year between now and 2029 will become the warmest year on record. Meanwhile, this week, we've had unseasonably cool weather. Today, though, we'll crank up the warmth a little bit.
I'm just trying to get a couple degrees here.
Right? Yeah, get into the 70s. Is that too much to ask?
You don't need all that record stuff. But Elizabeth Gardner in the WRAL Severe Weather Center right now. Well, it's on the move out now.
Yeah, so I think a lot of people think, it was really cool yesterday, mid-60s. That's one of the coolest high temperatures that we've seen on record in May. See, I think we're all confused by how cool it's been. But But anyway, it's been cool the last couple of days. It doesn't necessarily mean that we're going to have a cool summer, however. And meteorologist Chris Michaels addresses that on WRAL.com. Also, it's interesting that that report came out because globally, the last 10 years have each been above normal, and records, as a matter of fact, each higher than the last for the last 10 years. So we're glad to have this cool day today, that's for sure. You can see the showers that are popping up across our area, moving out of Wake County a little bit over toward Lewisburg and Henderson and on up into the northeast. And so we're going to continue to see this probably for another hour or so. You see how Futurecast pushes it on out between 2 and 3 o'clock this afternoon. After that, there's a little bit of clearing that starts to show up, but I wouldn't expect to see much sunshine this afternoon. If you do, it's probably going to be brief. Those clouds will likely fill back in. We are really socked in with the clouds, so being able to see some sunshine later on today is probably not very likely. We're seeing showers right now here over in downtown Raleigh. 63 is our current temperature, and our temperatures will hold in the low 70s. Warming up a little bit here in the east. 71 Clinton, 74 Goldsboro, 73 degrees in Rocky Mount. So a little bit cooler back to the west. Durham's at 60 right now, as well as Chapel Hill, 62 in Holly Springs, 61 in Garner and in Nightdale. Around town today, maybe it's a day you just need to get the kids outside, throw the raincoats on, throw the rain boots on, and go splash through some puddles. 73 are high in Raleigh, 71 in Durham, and 78 in Fayetteville. It does look much warmer for tomorrow with some drier conditions. As soggy as it is right now, you may think, maybe it's not going to be a great evening to go out and tailgate for the Canes, but it does look like the rain is out of here between 2 and 3 o'clock. We do have just a tiny chance in to cover the bases later on today, but at 6 o'clock, temperatures should be in the low 70s. It may not be bright and sunny, but 72 might be better than 92. So if you're headed out for the big game, tailgating should be fairly dry. Our temperature 73 today is 10 degrees below our normal high of 83 in Raleigh, and it's more than that in Fayetteville, 78 versus 85 there. So temperatures have been much cooler than normal the last few days. Tomorrow we have a 40% chance of showers and thunderstorms. We're going to take a closer look at that coming up in just a little while. Looks like just a few isolated storms, and Friday is already a WRAL weather alert day because of our chance for severe storms. Our severe threat is level 2 for Friday. Level 2 means that we would have scattered storms that could produce some wind damage or some hail. We also have a low risk for flooding. We've seen a lot of rain lately, and so any more additional heavy rain in particular on Friday could cause some flooding. So looking at a small chance for storms for Thursday. Even Saturday, we couldn't rule out an isolated storm, but generally the weekend looks much drier and temperatures will be close to normal, 80 to 82 degrees. Coming up, we're going to talk more about the rain totals that we've seen over the last few days and how much more we could see through Friday.
Elizabeth, thanks. Calls for separation allowances. The Raleigh Firefighter Union is calling on City Council to include it in the proposed budget. Today at 4, what this would mean for crews and how it compares to other cities.
And preventing hot car deaths. We have experienced some warm temperatures already this year in the Triangle, and it will get hotter. It's not right now, but today on WRAL News at 5:35 on your side shares the easy steps any parent or caregiver should take to protect children. Plus, still ahead this noon, software glitch. Next up, how one computer program forced Ford to recall more than 1 million vehicles across several models all at once.
Spending money to save the environment. The first state in the U.S. to charge a climate impact fee.
New at noon, Ford is recalling more than 1 million vehicles over a concern with the rear view camera. The National Highway Traffic Safety Administration says it's a software problem that may delay the images from the camera or make the screen freeze altogether. The group attributes at least one crash to that problem, and Ford is mailing letters by June 16th to owners of those affected vehicles.
2 airlines are making significant changes ahead of the summer travel season. Starting today, you will have to pay to check your bag with Southwest Airlines. The airline will now charge $35 for your first bag and $45 for your second. It's a change from Southwest's longtime bags fly free policy. Not everyone will be charged, including the airline's A-list flyers and business fare passengers. United Airlines wants you to check in earlier. Passengers who are only traveling with a carry-on will have to check in 45 minutes ahead of domestic flights. This means all United passengers will have the same check-in time with or without checked luggage. The airline says the move creates more consistency for customers. The change takes effect next week.
Happening now in the WRAL Live Center, we just reported that teens are having a tough time finding summer jobs. Well, a new report shows that they're not the only ones. A report by Oxford Economics looking at the U.S. unemployment rate over the last couple of years found that recent college grads are having a really hard time finding work. A shift in entry-level hiring in tech has contributed to the steady rise in unemployment rate for recent grads. Perhaps most concerning, according to the study, there's signs AI is already affecting the number of entry-level tech positions available. The report concludes those jobs are not likely to return. We'll keep looking at this and maybe have a little bit more coming up in our news starting at 4, right here on WRAL.
Hawaii is the first state to charge tourists a climate impact fee. The governor signed that bill into law Tuesday. So-called green fee increases taxes on hotels and cruises by 0.75%. The money raised will be used for projects to protect the environment. Critics say the move will hurt tourism. Lawmakers say the move is needed to protect the natural beauty that brings people to Hawaii in the first place. It takes effect January 1st.
The State Department increased its threat alert for Italy this summer. A travel advisory lists the country as a level 2 out of 4 warning over terrorism concerns. The advisory specifically cites the chance of terrorist violence and attacks. 7 more European countries and the United Kingdom are also listed with that level 2 out of 4 designation.
Guilty on all counts, a Durham man is convicted of killing his girlfriend. We'll go live to hear what family members had to say before the sentence was handed down.
New meaning to hurricane season. How people across western North Carolina are recovering from one storm while bracing for the next. And here's a look at the winning North Carolina Education Lottery numbers.
Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
And that breaking news is a guilty verdict in the trial for a Durham man accused of killing his girlfriend and leaving her in a hotel room.
At the time of the murder, Nicole Bullock had a domestic violence protection order in place against the killer. Family members spoke in court before sentencing. WRAL's Sean Gallagher was inside, and he joins us now. Sean.
Very powerful moments inside that courtroom when Rodney Crawford heard the words "life without parole." That happened just here behind me inside a courtroom on the 7th floor of the Durham County Courthouse about an hour ago. A jury finding him guilty for killing his ex-girlfriend, the mother of his child, in 2023. Crawford was found guilty on all counts he faced, with the largest, that murder charge, after he strangled Nicole Bullock and left her inside a hotel room for hours. It's one thing Judge Keith Gregory said over and over again, staring at a photo of a battered Nicole Bullock, the victim of domestic violence. That's not love. And all of this, the end of a long 2 years for Nicole's family, finally getting the closure they've been fighting so desperately for since losing her, and telling me a weight has been lifted off their shoulders, knowing Rodney Crawford will never be free.
A sense of relief, just a little bit of relief. It's not going to bring her back to us, but it's just a stepping stone for, the system to step up and be better because, like the judge said, having 3 sisters and just looking on, it's devastating.
And she talks about the system being better. That's the next fight that this family is looking for after a long 2 years trying to get justice. They want to make sure no family ever goes through this again, trying to enhance and have better protections for victims of domestic violence. Outside of the Durham County Courthouse, Sean Gallagher, WRAL News.
Tonight, the family of late Smithfield Town Councilman Marlon Lee are inviting the community to honor him. They are holding a balloon release at Smith Collins Park at 6 p.m. Friends say Lee was a champion for his community. He died over the weekend from medical complications.
Just before midnight, a gas station in Durham was hit by bullets. Police say it happened when shots were fired between two cars at the BP station. That was right at North Alston Avenue and Holloway Street. No one was hurt. Durham police are also investigating a shooting on North Miami Boulevard. It happened last night around 11:30. Police say a man was shot near a shopping plaza there, and he went to the hospital and is expected to be okay. No arrests have been made. The investigation continues.
Education is making headlines across our area today. Our county-by-county coverage takes us to Johnston, Harnett, and Cumberland counties. First, students in Johnston County schools received more than $66 million in scholarship offerings this school year. That is $18 million more than last school year. High school seniors in the county graduated last week.
And in Harnett County, graduation season's in full swing. The class of 2025 from Overhills High School turned their tassels about 90 minutes ago. Western Harnett graduates this afternoon. 2 more ceremonies will be scheduled tomorrow, and links to each live stream are available on the school system's Facebook page.
Cumberland County Schools selected a familiar name as its new superintendent. The school board unanimously appointed Eric Bracey. He's the superintendent of Johnston County Schools. He also held leadership positions in Sampson, Vance, and Northampton counties, as well as Durham Public Schools. Bracey's first day on the job will be July 1st. Former Wake County School Superintendent Kathy Moore accepted a new leadership role. She's joining the Winston-Salem Forsyth County Schools as interim superintendent. Last year, she filled that same role in Durham Public Schools, and that's in addition to her seat on the State Board of Education.
This year's Atlantic hurricane season begins Sunday, and it's a date that resonates more than ever in the western North Carolina mountains. Many are still trying to recover from last year's encounter with Hurricane Helene, even as they are being warned to get ready for this hurricane season. Gary Baumgarten takes a look at how many are faring.
So we're predicting an above average season once again, 2025. Above average.
In the wake of the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration's 2025 Hurricane Outlook Report, residents and business owners across swaths of the South still suffering from the devastation caused by last year's storms. Hurricane Helene made landfall in Florida's Big Bend almost a year ago before inflicting some of the worst damage as it tore through mountain communities in western North Carolina. Intense winds and flooding caused roughly $60 billion in damage across the Tar Heel state and killed more than 100 people.
About 30% of our total business community was just totally destroyed in the flood.
Local officials in Chimney Rock Village hope to reopen their tourist-friendly downtown by Memorial Day. The damage was too severe.
Anybody that's shot a gun or a bow and arrow knows you don't always hit the target.
Still, signs of ongoing recovery persist.
We've been here for almost 30 years. And for us, the day after the storm, we didn't even question whether we were going to rebuild or not. We knew right away that we weren't going to let go.
But officials say there are plenty of others who say they don't have the heart or the finances to rebuild. Many are still ironing out their plans as weather experts urge them to start preparing for this season's storms.
As Gary Baumgarten reporting, and this year's Broogaloo Festival raised more than $25,000 for Western North Carolina. The donation was made to the North Carolina Craft Brewers Association, and it will provide direct relief to breweries still working to recover from Helene, helping with things like businesses, recovery grants to rebuild infrastructure and replace equipment.
Talk about shattering a calm afternoon. A rental truck exploding, seemingly out of nowhere, on a neighborhood street. Still ahead, what you can learn from this blast.
And career change, what today's Teacher of the Week used to do before coming to the classroom. For news, traffic, and the weather of the day, make sure you download the WRAL News app. Education is a second career for our Teacher of the Week.
WRAL's Ken Smith visited Green Magnet Elementary School in Raleigh to talk with the woman who left a legal career to follow a calling in special education.
This week we were learning about the earth changes and the changes that the earth makes.
Florrie Dean is in her 10th year as a special education teacher after working for several years in the legal field.
I will help you.
Dean was drawn to helping students with special needs, particularly students with autism, because of a personal experience.
I have a godchild who's autistic, and I saw the challenges that my friend had with finding somebody to give good care. And so then I said, you know what? In helping her, I realized this is something that I like doing. Can you see the different changes that the earth is making?
Dean is known for embracing her students' abilities at whatever level and figuring out ways to help them learn in their own way.
Every day I try to teach a different sign language, so even the verbal students are now communicating with the nonverbal students using sign language. Let's help our friends, Anakin.
As for her students' parents, one of whom nominated her, they couldn't be more appreciative of Dean's work with their children.
I show up every day just to do my best and to make sure that away from home that their children is at home.
Ms. Dean, you are WRAL's Teacher of the Week. Congratulations. Ken Smith, WRAL News.
Now, if you'd like to nominate a teacher, go to WRAL.com, enter Teacher of the Week in the search box.
Well, there's certainly a chill in the air. Plenty of you have asked, do these lower temperatures, do they last the last few days? Do they mean there's a cooler summer in store? We asked the meteorologists, and we'll get the answers next.
And what's on the radar right now? Elizabeth Gardner's forecast shares what to expect over the next few hours and days when we come back.
Happening now in the WRAL Live Center, a big announcement for the upcoming Raleigh Wide Open. Just this morning, this noon hour, this new festival will replace the IBMA World of Bluegrass Festival that ended a 12-year run last year. Well, this morning, festival organizers are announcing the lineup for the free street festival portion of the event that will feature some familiar names like Balsam Range, Jim Lauderdale, Don Flemons, and the Carolina Chocolate Drops. The lineup for the ticketed portion of the festival at Red Hat Amphitheater will be announced later this summer. Raleigh Wide Open will happen October 3rd and 4th in downtown Raleigh.
Ken, thanks. Now, here's something you don't say often. A box truck exploded as it drove through a neighborhood in Illinois.
Yeah, luckily we don't see it often either. A surveillance camera caught the whole thing. Watch this. What even happened to it? Where did it go? Okay, so the driver was checked out. Firefighters say he is expected to recover quickly. I can't believe he's okay.
Right?
But look at the explosion. The truck was carrying a propane tank in the back of it. Started to leak, pressure built up, something ignited, and bam, 4 homes were damaged.
Truck ended up pushed all the way into my neighbor's home, and it blew the brick wall down. And barely missed her husband, who was laying on the couch on a Saturday morning.
Oh, my. The worst damage happened across the street at that home. The blast tore the front porch right off. No one in the homes was injured by this.
Another neighbor said, when they heard that explosion, they were thinking, wow, they're starting with the fireworks early this year, but that one had a lot more extra punch.
Interesting, when the investigators came to check it out, they saw that debris field, but they didn't find any fire or anything else around it because it was just boom.
Yep, a leaking propane.
Wow. Yesterday was an abnormally cool day in the Triangle, which had a lot of folks asking us, does this mean it'll be a cool summer?
We can all hope. Meteorologist Chris Michaels has the answer in today's Ask the Meteorologist.
So obviously one day doesn't really set the tone for an entire season ahead, but yesterday was definitely an anomaly. We only hit a high temperature of 65 degrees at night in the Triangle. Last time that happened this late in the season was in 2023, but we wanted to see just how rare that was. So we looked from May 27th through June 22nd every year since 1887, and it's only been that cool 57 times, which means it's got about a 1.5% chance of happening this late in the spring. So in the years when we did see that kind of cool weather this late in the spring, how was summer? On average, it was 0.4 degrees cooler than average, but a lot of that was in the 1960s and the 1980s. Since 2000, we've had plenty of warm and hot summers. So what about this summer? We're answering that question with the latest outlook right now on Ask the Meteorologist. You can find that on the WRAL weather app as well as WRAL.com.
Gives me a headache. Some of just
A
trying
lot
to
of
figure
data
out.
crunching. That's why he's doing it, not us.
Exactly. Bottom line is it's cold right now, and it may not stay that way for into the summer.
It's warming up, though, Elizabeth.
Yeah.
It is. It's been chilly. We're going to climb into the mid-70s in some places, possibly even close to 80 down in, say, the Fayetteville area. And as a matter of fact, you can start to see a little bit of blue sky there in Fayetteville, and so that's a pretty much guarantee that we'll hit 80 for the high today. Apex still pretty gloomy and a little damp. Notice the streets here in Chapel Hill starting to dry out a little bit as the rain's beginning to pull away from us. Raleigh's still seeing gray skies, but there's a possibility that we'll see a few peaks of sunshine this afternoon, maybe after 3 o'clock. Still a little bit of light patchy rain showing up around Fayetteville and Sanford. Most of the rain that's still falling is up here in our north and eastern counties, and it's pulling away. And we'll zoom in a little closer. You can see some showers there between Roanoke Rapids and Enfield and Rocky Mount, lifting mainly on to the northeast and, of course, out of our area. How much rain have we seen so far? We've seen easily 1.5 inches in the last 24 hours across parts of Wake County and some other spots as well. Around Goldsboro, about 3/4 inch, about 1 inch north of Durham. Really widespread rainfall totals at around 3/4 inch to 1.5 inches. So it's been a good bit of rain, but it's been fairly steady and not all at one time. So we haven't had to worry about any flooding. At 5 o'clock, notice Futurecast trying to show a few breaks in the cloud cover. But as we get through the next couple of days, we're still seeing unsettled conditions. For tomorrow, for Thursday, this front gets a little closer to us with a chance of a few isolated thunderstorms. But Friday will be our next biggest weather maker. When the front itself comes through, we have a good chance of some strong to severe thunderstorms. It's likely to happen in the afternoon and evening. So wind and hail will be our biggest threat on Friday, which is already a WRAL weather alert day. It's a level 2 risk for severe storms, again, from 1 o'clock to around 7 o'clock. This is a look at our severe threat. It covers almost the entire viewing area. A level 2 threat means instead of isolated storms producing severe weather, they're scattered, which is, just a level up, just a few more storms that could produce some severe thunderstorms. For tomorrow, it's just a 40% chance of rain and then a 60% chance on Friday. We still have a small chance on Saturday, but really Friday looks like the day that it's going to be the heaviest. Not much more rain today or tomorrow, but then potentially another almost inch of rain for us on Friday. So, of course, Friday is a WRAL weather alert day. So looking at 73 for this afternoon, tomorrow morning 63. We do have some more cool mornings. Saturday and Sunday are likely to be back down into the 50s as we get into June. Of course, the first day of June is Sunday, and we typically start to see some pretty hot weather by then. This has been a fairly cool week so far, and it looks like it'll stay that way. The weekend, Saturday and Sunday, highs will be in the low 80s, should be very comfortable. And finally, it looks like we do start to dry out a little bit, so hopefully the weekend will be enjoyable.
Elizabeth, Renee, moms need a break. A new study shows mothers aren't as healthy as they were a decade ago or less, mentally or physically. What's causing the problems ahead?
And here's a look at your winning Mega Millions numbers.
And gloomy Lake Gaston. Look at that. We even have a few bonus raindrops on the camera lens right there. It is going to warm up at some point this afternoon, though. Hang in there for that.
As we wrap things up, here's a look at a few of the headlines we're following today.
Breaking news, a guilty verdict in a domestic violence murder trial we've been following. Just before we came on air, a jury found Rodney Crawford guilty in the murder of Nicole Bullock back in 2023. Along with the murder conviction, Crawford was found guilty of assault by strangulation, first-degree burglary, and violating protection orders. Bullock was a mother of 5, including one she had with Crawford.
The Wake County School Board is working on an artificial intelligence policy. Middle and high school students can already access tools such as ChatGPT at school. This policy would establish some parameters on when that's okay. It would also include some training. Some school board members say they're concerned about the impact of AI on student learning, but they do agree that students can't be missing out on learning how to use these new technologies. The board plans to discuss a draft next month.
7 hours until puck drop at the Lenovo Center, and at this point, every game in the Eastern Conference Final is a must-win situation to keep the Hurricanes season alive. They avoided elimination with a 3-0 win in Game 4 against the Panthers. Game 5 is at the Lenovo Center, 8 o'clock tonight.
A new study says moms aren't as healthy as they were a decade ago. Researchers examined data from 200,000 mothers with children 17 and younger. Those claiming to have excellent mental health dropped 13% from 2016 to 2023. And those reporting excellent physical health dropped 4%. Researchers suggest reduced access to care and social isolation may be factors. Binge drinking appears to be on the decline. University of Pittsburgh researchers studied data from 2021 to 23, and they found a drop across all demographics. The biggest drop was in young men, 18 to 25. Women in that group report drinking more than men of the same age. Health experts warn that binge drinking can manifest in a number of conditions, including cancer and heart disease.
Teeth from a prehistoric shark are telling scientists a lot about what it ate. A study analyzing fossilized teeth from megalodons shows the shark might have eaten both large and small prey. The minerals in the fossil suggest the animals may have simply hunted whatever was near them. It was previously believed the predator hunted only large marine animals like whales as part of its, get this, 100,000 calorie per day diet.
Look at the size of that thing when you hold it. President Trump issued pardons to 2 reality TV stars. The president gave a full pardon to Todd and Julie Chrisley, known for their hit reality show, Chrisley Knows Best. They were convicted of federal fraud back in 2022. They still had several years left on their prison sentences. The couple sought pardons from Trump in February. President Trump called 2 of the Chrisley's children to personally inform them of his decision to pardon their parents.
A wildlife center in Virginia took in a handful of black bear cubs. The cubs were left behind by their mother as the bears came out of hibernation. Staff members at the center are working to raise the bears without letting them get attached to the people raising them. The end goal is to return them to live in the wild once they have the skills to do that.
They could not be any more cute. Today's pet of the day has been called an easygoing goofball with a big heart. Meet Mr. Bean. He was found as a kitten trying to cross a road all by himself. Mr. Bean loves to wrestle and snuggle with his feline friends, so a home with other cats is a must. He is good at having his claws trimmed and being picked up. He also takes medicine well, which is good because he's on a long-term antibiotic and a restricted diet. You can meet Mr. Bean in person at Cat Angels Pet Adoptions. Fill out an application on their website.
Fentanyl funneling. Attorney General Jeff Jackson takes aim at the Chinese-owned messaging and payment platform WeChat. Coming up on WRAL News at 4, its connection to money laundering and fentanyl trafficking in the state.
The clouds will stick around, but at least we've kicked out the rain for the most part. NBC News Daily is next on WRAL. Your next local news update in 30 minutes.
Also, you can get breaking news updates anytime with our WRAL News app. Have a great Wednesday, Gloomy Gaston.
Keep watching WRAL News over the air Channel 34 and Spectrum Channel 1257.